because they want to push a narrative that I am different from you, that you are doing this for Kyagulanyi.
And then you can throw in Zaire there, depending on how you look at things, as well as South Sudan. That is the Great Lakes region. So Kenya falls in both those regions. That's why you see it is part of also the East African community, but you will see that Ethiopia is not part of the East African community and things of this sort, right? So it depends on how you look at the situation. That's why you need it to be unpacked and broken down. Now, we see that Biden has called Kenya twice. We saw the foreign minister of the UK has visited Kenya like 2 times, I think. We saw Theresa May was in Kenya. We saw Angela Merkel. We saw lots of people have been in Kenya, but no one is visiting Museveni for some reason. I don't know why. Even in the Trump administration, Museveni barely received any visitors. Now, this shows that Kenya is actually becoming a very, very strategic partner for the West, and also it shows that lots of countries are fighting to have Kenya on their side in order to push their interests and also to push their values here and there. Now, you will understand not only that is the reason, but the reason is number one, stability. Kenya
and Kyagulanyi is safe from oppression, but you're not. I want to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that we are all the same.
Is a bit stable because it has peaceful transfer of power from one leader to another. You have transfer of power from Jomo Kenyatta, from their very first president, to Uhuru Kenyatta, who was the son of Jomo Kenyatta. So you have there Arap Moi, you have Mwai Kibaki, and you have who else? Uhuru Kenyatta, and so on and so forth. Now in Uganda, you already have change of power by the barrel of the gun, and that's how things have been since our independence. Now on the other hand, Kenya holds 2 important positions on the African continent as well as on the United Nations. Kenya is among the 3 African countries that represent the continent on the UN Security Council. We all know that the UN Security Council, I think, has, is it 12 or 15 members? That the 5 members, I think it has 9. I don't know. I'm not very sure about the UN Security Council, but it has, what is important is it has 5 permanent members, and other members are interchanged, and they come from different other continents. Now Africa, we send 3 representatives that represent Africa for 2 years. Kenya is one of those countries that represent Africa on the UN Security Council. The other 2 are Niger as well as Tunisia. Also, I'd like to clarify, in the Horn of Africa, we also have Djibouti, because Djibouti ran against Kenya, and of course, Kenya won Djibouti, and the politics that was there, we all know. Now, on the other hand, Kenya also heads the African Union Peace and Stability Council. It's the head of the African Union Peace and Stability Council. So, when you look at
and these are the divide and rule tactics that Museveni has used over the years. We are doing everything possible to secure
all those capacities that Uhuru Kenyatta holds. You see, like, he's a very, very powerful gentleman in the region because of the positions he holds. Those positions are much stronger than a head of the African Union, by the way. I think it's Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa. But Cyril Ramaphosa is not as strong as Uhuru Kenyatta when we are talking about people who have, strong positions that are to deal with the regional stability, humanitarian aid. That's why Biden's first call to Africa was to Uhuru Kenyatta. Now, making this call, what does it mean for Museveni? Well, it means a couple of things. Number one, that the role of Museveni and the role of Uganda in the region has deteriorated, has moved to the bottom of the pecking order on the countries that these countries can actually rely on in terms of help and so on and so forth. The issue of Somalia is now wholesomely being handed over to Uhuru Kenyatta to sort out and address, and the participation of Museveni is going to be very, very minimal. That is, if he will even still be president of Uganda, because Museveni recently faked the number of Al-Shabaab militants that were killed. It said that it killed 183, and yet it was a lie. So Biden sees himself as a man of high integrity, that if he aligns himself with Museveni, it's really going to taint his image. It is only countries like China who do not worry about their image that will deal with Museveni. But what is interesting is also the Chinese are now pulling back a wee bit with their, working relationship with Museveni, as well as Uganda on the other hand. Secondly, what this means is that calling Uhuru Kenyatta is to make sure that he's on high alert to take positions that former strategic partners have been taking. For example, in the Horn of Africa, one of the longest strategic partner of the West has always been Ethiopia. Ethiopia has always looked at as this country that is stable, blah 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 blah, and it would intervene at a whisk. But now, when you see Ethiopia is under a very big crisis that they are trying to handle, the neighbors Sudan is also not stable, and so on and so forth.
The freedom of these our friends. But like I told you, that after failing to get...
That is in the Horn of Africa. Ethiopia was the biggest country that was working in the Horn. Now, on the other hand, Uganda was one of the longest strategic partners of the US in the Great Lakes region. So what this means is that Uganda now, that position, it has been kicked out. That's why you see the UN actually had to shift its embassies. Lots of aircrafts are actually cancelling their, they're stopping their airlines from coming to Uganda. They are all stopping in Nairobi, and then you have to get another aircraft from Nairobi to Uganda. Lots of businesses are leaving, especially Western businesses, in exchange for Chinese, but even the Chinese are struggling to make a penny. So you see that everything is now not so good. We also understand that Museveni's age is also something that is in check, because we know that it's not the Museveni they knew of the 90s. The gentleman has gotten old, and there is no future in Uganda. Like the West and China and all these other countries are now worried that even if they make any deals with Uganda, there is a possibility that Museveni might leave the next day and they will have to renegotiate everything. There is no sort of continuity in countries like Uganda. Now that is a very big problem, you get it, because no one wants to do business with uncertainty. Now on Kenya, on the other hand, is that Kenya has this element of certainty that, okay, fine, we are going into elections, it is our biggest challenge, but we will make sure that we do better in the next elections. And that is why lots of people are putting, especially the Western investors and all these kind of people, have put a lot of trust in Kenya to see if at all it's a country they can work with. And that's why you see Kenya is also trying hard to make sure that they have a peaceful election in 2022, which Uhuru Kenyatta will not be part of. Kenya's seat at the UN Security Council ends next year in December. Now that's a very long time. I'm not very sure the month that Kenyans go into the elections, but likely by that time they will have had a new president, meaning that the new president will be able to move on with other things, whereby the new president will be briefed by Uhuru Kenyatta, and then he hands over office and then try to do things here and there. So you see that there is that sort of trust that different countries, development partners have with Kenya, that they trust them here and there. Now what this means for Uganda is most of the aid that has been coming from the Americans to Uganda is going to be slashed so much. It's going to be slashed very, very much, and Kenya will be taking a big chunk of that money. That is if actually Museveni stays in power. Now, we also understand that where this leads is that you remember very well, Uhuru Kenyatta tried to congratulate Museveni, and he was I think someone gave him advice: do not do it, do not congratulate Museveni. And Uhuru Kenyatta, when he removed the tweet, you can actually see now that everything now makes sense as why Uhuru Kenyatta had to remove the tweet that was congratulating Museveni. Because when you congratulate Museveni today on the continent of Africa as well as the international community, it receives a huge backlash in the entire international community. And that's why you see the British Minister for Africa, when he tried to congratulate Museveni, it actually backfired. The entire continent, the journalists and everyone fired back against him. Well, Museveni is also fighting back. You can understand he has started moving a narrative in the country saying that he needs to return the term limits of the president to 2, that every president is supposed to rule for 2 terms. The same constitution that he amended, now he wants to re-amend it again to reinstate the term limits of the president. Now I think this is all too late for Museveni and his counterparts. So let me tell you one thing that I'm sure of. Museveni is not happy that the call is not coming, number one. Number two, he's not happy that Kenya is taking all the limelight. He is not happy at all. And what I believe he's saying is that after all I've done for you guys, this is what you pay me. Yes, that is what you get paid if at all you do not want to leave power. That you will be ashamed, you will be downgraded, and you will be stamped on, just like it is happening. Right? Because if Museveni had left power, the congratulatory messages he has received from British prime ministers, from the Chinese, from the Americans, those are enough. But you still want more and more and more and more. You should give power to someone else to also take over, right? But for you want everything for yourself. So Biden is not taking any of that stuff, and that's why you see that now Kenya is taking all the limelight. The ship was in Kenya. All of the high dignitaries are coming to Kenya. The prime ministers are coming to Kenya. Kenya is signing trade deals. It's signing deals to train its soldiers. Oh my God. All that is not for nothing. All that it is to make sure that Kenya stabilizes the entire region. That is the Horn as well as the Great Lakes. Great Lakes countries like Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania, as well as Uganda. Now, we shall continue to watch the developments that are happening, especially outside Uganda, because those really interest me a lot, trying to understand these moves here and there, what is in for Kenya, what is in for Uganda, what it means for our country, and so on and so forth. Now, all of this might be happening, ladies and gentlemen, but we should all know that everything has to go back to us, as Ugandans. It has to go back to us, because no one is going to come from outside to help us without us helping ourselves first. One last thing before I leave is that what this shows is that Kenya is going to be the country that mediates in most of these issues that are happening in the region. When it comes to Uganda, I believe Kenya might be tasked by the Americans to mediate between Museveni and BobiWine, or NRM and NUP in one way or the other. That's what I think. Kenya is going to be, they will be the ones to send envoys and play that role of peacemaker in the region, that is in Ethiopia as well as Uganda, and maybe Rwanda. It might intervene on behalf of the West and try to negotiate, because Kenya has been in these situations before, especially when it comes to election, how they manage to pull it off and work together, and in the end attract investment and the country moves on. But in Uganda, I believe Kenya is going to be it will be tasked to mediate in most of our issues, I believe, and it might be while Uhuru Kenyatta is in power or after he has left power, because Uhuru Kenyatta is really destined for so many things, especially when he leaves power, especially things to deal